In this today video, I will talk about Herbert Simon. He is the founder of bounded rationality theory. He developed the bounded rationality model, which advocates the idea that humans are only partially rational. In that theory, Simon indicates that when humans have limited knowledge, time, as well as limited cognitive ability, in that case, he has two options: either he will take that product or he will reject. If consumer want to take a product, consumer want to buy a particular product, and he has limited knowledge, limited information about that particular product, as well as limited time to search about in brief how the product work, and is the product is useful or not, as well as the limited cognitive ability. Many of customers, they don't have that much capacity, and some of don't want to be know about the product information. They just want to be use that product. Maybe they have to require to use that product, or they just wanted to. It's very person nature. Let's come back to the point. So he developed the bounded rationality theory. In this video we talk about him. Herbert Simon, he is the researcher. He was born in 1916 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. His father was an electrical engineer and his mother was a pianist. He entered the University of Chicago in 1933 and completed his MBA in 1936 and later his PhD in 1943. Both in political science, he is often referred to as a behavioral economist. He is the researcher who wrote the paper and who gave this information about Herbert Simon. So I mentioned already the researcher name where I get information. Simon's first academic job was in 1939. So he born in 1916 and he completed his MBA, his master 1936, and then he completed his PhD 1943. And after that his job was in 1939. It means before getting his PhD degree, he was working as assistant professor as the director of the research project. The latest 3 years and was conducted for the University of California. At later, he taught at the Institute of Technology and become involved with the Cowel Commissions. Most notable was his career at Carnegie Mellon University, where he joined in 1947. He is the turning point of his life and continue until the last day of his life. He is a brilliant researcher. While at Carnegie Mellon, Simon was instrumental in founding several departments and colleges, including Humanities and Social Science, graduate schools of Industrial Administration, Psychology, School of Computer Science, and more importantly, the creation of the cognitive group. Simon received the Nobel Memorial Award in 1978 for his research on decision making process within economic organization. He also received many other awards and recognition, including the AM Turning Awards for his contribution to computer science in 1975, the National Medal of Science in 1986, the Dwight Waldo Awards, the John Goss Lecture Award, the James Madison Award from the American. These are the awards which he got in his life career for his achievement of psychological science from the American Psychological Association, the American Society of Public Administration Award, as well as American Economics Association Award. Simon received 24 honorary doctoral degree from many colleges and universities, including Harvard University, Columbia University, Yale University, and University of Chicago. He published 27 books and close to 1000 articles on different subjects and in the variety of disciplines. He can viewed as a barometer of change for several disciplines during his productive life. Simon is claimed by many disciplines such as political science, public administration, administrative theory, philosophy, economics, computer science, psychology, and artificial intelligence. We call it AI 4.0 revolution to be the founder and the major contribution. His lifelong contribution to those disciplines make him a unique personality among the po- pioneer in science and technology as well as the management and economics in the world. He collaborated with several scholars from different disciplines including Alan Naval computer science and cognitive psychology from Rand Corporation. Edward, these are the uh, his achievements which he get, and he gave to lifelong contribution to the research society. Let's talk about main idea. The occupation Simon's mind since his early age was to discover how human behavior could be studied. This is very interesting point. I'm going to discuss in brief scientifically. So the main idea of the occupied Simon's mind, which is since his early age, was to discover how human behavior could be studied. Scientifically, his ideas of human decision making and problem solving, as well as the bounded rationality and causal reasoning, are considered his unique contribution to management. He profoundly challenged our fundamental assumptions of human cognition. His central goal was to explain the nature and the mechanism of the through the process that people use in making decisions. In 1947, Simon published his doctoral dissertation that he wrote to his political science degree at the University of Chicago on the topic of administrative behavior, a study of decision making process in administrative organization. In this monumental book, Simon challenged the age old assumptions in administration and launched his first critique of the classical principles of management. He effectively questions the notion of principles in administration and called them proverbs of administration. He argued that those so called principles often conflict with each other and do not hold up to scientific inquiry. Therefore, they are not applicable in complex situations and cannot be called principle. He convincingly demonstrated how every single principle in administration can be nullified through systematic logical reasoning. For example, Simon argued that principle and delegation of authority and unity of the commands are contradictory to each other. One principle argued a management should delegate authority and responsibility, and the other principle contradict the founder of the from principles by advocating organization control through a centrally based command. Simon advocated concentration on factual proposition for conducting scientific inquiry. His emphasis on rationality led him to believe his separation of fact and values and argued that facts are empirical and can be scientifically verified. However, he believed that value not only can be verified but also are subject to different interpretation by individual because they deal with certain ideas and cannot be measured and used in scientific inquiry. He believed that the main job of administration is to separate fact from value in order to be able to set realistic goal organization in order to fulfill his interest in finding a more reliable model for human to make decisions. Simon involves himself with areas beyond the administration disciplines. Simon's intentions was to use hard science such as mathematics to explain social phenomena. In other words, he insisted on making administration a science in order to make administrative decisions more rationally His deep interest in decision making led him to other disciplines such as psychology, AI, and economics, by which he developed the theory of bounded rationality that won him the Nobel Memorial Prize. He believed that organizational decision making is a complex process that is influenced by many factors in the organization. It can be argued that since the time he wrote his dissertation and its publication in 1947, Simon set the stage for the development of new approach in understanding and studying organizational decision making with an emphasis on the limitation of rationality decision making agents. Simon viewed human being as an uncomplicated phenomena and argued that humans are composed of quite simple behaving systems. However, the apparent complexity of our behavior over time is largely a reflection of the complexity of the other environment in which we find ourselves. Therefore, using this view of human behavior, he taught that understanding human environment and uncertainty that surround the decision making process is the major challenge of our time. Simon asserted that decision making is the most important part of administrations, and the outcome of decision depends on the process that is used in making decisions. He developed that bounded rationality model which advocate the idea that humans are only partially rational. He also believed that organizational decision making had a social aspect, and no decision in an organization was the function of one individual. So here I talk about Simon, his life and his career when he completed his graduation as well as master, and when he started his career he has lots of doctoral degrees from different university, those university located in the United States of America. He's a such a novel researcher who gave many of theories, and bounded rationality is one of them. He published more than 1000 papers and also articles, and also he published several papers. He also worked with the research scholars. I hope this video useful for you. Thank you.